rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz nuts, start the show, let's go. Spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show, let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze, stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning whiz and coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy whiz, let's start the show, let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning whiz is always best. Time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, that the sun is going to be shining soon right upon your face. And before you know it, it's going to be Christmas. And wow, is it going to be a good Christmas? You love Megan's laugh? Yes, Megan's got a great laugh. I completely agree. Megan has a fun laugh. She is definitely one of the most enjoyable. Hello, Melody. Hello, Gail. Good to see you. Debbie Webb, DK Lewis. How you doing, Lucas? Nancy and Stormy, how you doing? And everybody else that I may have missed, welcome. If I sit here and read everybody off, I would never get to the news ever. We've got some really, really good stuff today for you right here. Senator Kennedy humiliates general who called Trump supporters fascist. What? Senator John Kennedy's exchange with retired Army Major General Randy Manner during a recent Senate hearing was nothing short of epic. We're going to watch that. Kennedy, a master of political discourse, delivered a blistering takedown of Manner's past comments on President Trump and his supporters during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing on Tuesday. Manner was testifying about the incoming administration's plan for mass deportations of criminal illegal aliens. Manner began his opening statement by highlighting his 35 years of service in the military, including roles such as Deputy Commanding General of the United States, 3rd Army in Kuwait, and acting vice chief of the National Guard Bureau. He praised the U.S. military, which has become a bit of a joke under Biden, as the envy of the world, admired by allies and feared by enemies. Manner emphasizes the diverse backgrounds of military personnel, noting that despite their differences, they are united in upholding values like duty, honor, integrity, respect, selfless service, loyalty, personal courage, and excellence. Manner also expressed grave concern about President Donald Trump's plan to use the military for mass deportation, warning that it could cause significant harm to both the military institution and its service members. Well, so what exactly did he say? Well, let's see.
For over 35 years, I served our nation in both the regular Army and in the National Guard. Prior to retiring from the Army as a Major General, I served as the Deputy Commanding General of the United States Third Army in Kuwait, as the acting Vice Chief of the National Guard Bureau, and as the acting and Deputy Director of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. During the time I served, I saw firsthand that our military force is the envy of the world. It is respected by our allies and by people around the world who want to live free of oppression. It is feared by our enemies and those who would do us harm. Our military members come from every possible background, representing every state, every race, ethnic group, and religion. But when they come together in the military, they are molded together in a team expected to embody the values which make America great: duty, honor, integrity, respect, selfless service, loyalty, personal courage, and excellence. President-elect Trump has announced his intent to use the U.S. military to execute his mass deportation plan. I am gravely concerned that placing our military in this role could cause significant harm to both the institution of our armed forces and to service members themselves. There are 4 significant risks that I want to emphasize. First.
Well, first, that is the president's choice to do anything with the military, as he is the commander-in-chief, and you would be submitting to his dictates. He's the boss at that point, which you run under him. Well, Senator Kennedy definitely responded to that, and let's see what Senator Kennedy had to say about that.
Yes,
You
Senator.
believe in open borders, don't you?
I believe in the rule of law, sir.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you angry that President Trump does not believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Senator, I'm not here to discuss immigration policy. I'm here to discuss whether or not we use the military to enforce it.
And it makes you angry that most Americans don't believe in open borders, doesn't it?
Not in the slightest, sir. Again, I am not here to
Hey, Max.
discuss the immigration
Good to see you,
policy.
brother.
Yeah.
Morning, Captain Curran.
Duty, honor, respect, you talked about that
Yes,
in
Senator.
your opening statement.
Yeah.
On October 14th of this year, you went on CNN.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read you what you said. Make sure I'm accurate. Here's what you said. President Trump is not like any sane leader.
Oh,
I'm very proud of General Milley for saying that President Trump is a total fascist. To Bob Woodward, if he as chairman of the Joint Chiefs is calling the president a fascist, I'm so proud of him for breaking that barrier.
damn.
The challenge is because most MAGA Republicans, they don't understand what fascism is.
Ooh.
The reality is that they are in fact fascists themselves.
Ooh.
Did I read that accurate?
Senator, I am happy to discuss my personal perspectives with you separately at any time. That's not the purpose of the hearing today.
Did I read that
Yes, it
accurately?
is.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. You think you're smarter than the American people, don't you?
Absolutely not, Senator. I am here to discuss the use of the military as part of this mass deportation.
You think you're more virtuous than the American people, don't you, Jenny?
Mhm.
Senator, I am insulted by your comment.
Oh my God. The retired general begrudgingly agreed, knowing that the accuracy of the quote Kennedy read. What followed was a textbook display of Kennedy's ability to expose hypocrisy and intellectual arrogance. Kennedy took a direct approach. And the senator brought the conversation back to Manor's initial claims about duty, honor, and respect. And you talked about that in your opening statement. Kennedy and Manor, now boxed into a corner, acknowledged the senator's statement. Kennedy immediately turned to his next question. And by their actions, you know what someone's character is. It's like, you agree with that. Manners' quick response was, of course, signaled his acknowledgement that actions speak louder than words. However, Kennedy was keenly aware that Manners' own actions, like publicly calling out a sitting president a fascist, revealed a character that contradicted the very values that he claimed to uphold. In less than 5 minutes, Kennedy laid bare the hollow nature of Manners' rhetoric. Through sharp questioning, Kennedy revealed a man who is blindly hating Donald Trump, not a man who is committed to protecting Americans. It was a masterclass in political confrontation, one that left no doubt about who held the moral ground in that exchange. It was glorious. Sometimes you gotta twist stuff to bend to your liking. I guess you could say that. But that's not all we have for you this morning, because the morning briefings, Christopher Wray is busy Googling no extradition treaty with the United States. And happy Thursday. Another one from Cruiser. Kurinek was just beginning to explore the dark side of having won a lifetime of breakfast burritos. Well, now we have our biggest indication that things in the Trump 47 administration are going to be just a bit different than they were during the Trump 45 years. During the first go-round, we had to wait 4 months for then President Donald Trump to get rid of a toxic and useless FBI director, and it wasn't until May of 2017 that the Russian collusion pimp James Comey was relieved of his duties. This year, President-elect Trump has Comey, even more useless successor, running for the hills before the next administration gets to work. FBI Director Wray announced on Wednesday that he would resign his position at the end of Joe Biden's term in office. After weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and to step my ass down. He said in a town hall with FBI employees, "My goal is to keep focused on our mission, the indispensable work you're doing on behalf of the American people every day. My view is the best way to avoid dragging the Bureau deeper into the fray, while reinforcing the values and the principles that are so important to how we do our work." Wray was the one who dragged the FBI into the fray, so his concern about dragging it deeper isn't all that noble. He has gleefully allowed his people to operate as Joe Biden's political goon squad for the last 4 years. They're all nervous about Trump, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel being in charge because they know that new management will prioritize the purging of these rogue elements. The FBI is one of the many once vaunted institutions in the United States that people have lost faith in. Christopher Wray is the face of that demise. He will leave behind a legacy that will only be viewed fondly and only by the mentally unstable lefties who are still caught up in this January 6th fever dream. FBI Director Wray resigned. Resignation has been announced, and FBI whistleblower Kyle Serafin and Steve Friend emphasize he leaves a legacy of abuse, weaponization of federal power, and the political bias behind. Soon after it was announced that Wray told an FBI employee town hall he was stepping down, Serafin slammed Wray in an exclusive comments to PJ Media. Christopher Wray's announced departure from the FBI represents a tacit acknowledgement of his failure to lead the Bureau. Serafin told me. Friend, meanwhile, described him as ecstatic at Wray's resignation. It'll be interesting to see how rank and file agents respond to Wray's absence in the new Trump order next year. It would be nice to think that they all haven't been infected by the Garland-Wray rot during the Biden years. Wray is an uncomfortable reminder of Trump's personal disasters in his first term. He was appointed because Chris Christie told Trump he'd be good for the job. One turncoat saddled him with another. As I wrote in July of last year, not firing Wray before he left office was the biggest failure of Trump's first term. I used the phrase last week, but it applies here. Wray is a cautionary tale for Trump's second term. He can't be trusting Chris Christie-like people for advice. Thus far, most of the personal choices for round two seem to be solid. Trump seems to have learned from his mistakes, and now I can't wait for Kash Patel to get there and start putting the FBI's house in order. And that brings me to the most interesting one that I saw, which was on NBC, and it was really important to me to show this to you.
Look forward to a very smooth transition, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
Are you going to be seeking retribution against Donald Trump's political opponents, sir?
Sorry, what's your reaction to Ray's resignation? We look forward to a very smooth transition at the FBI, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
Pretty straightforward. Not talking about giving retribution to anybody, not attacking anybody, not going after anybody. Just making it very clear. I'm ready to move. Are you? And that right there really set off the firestorm, because the left really expects that Trump is going to come in and he's going to be seeking retribution for people. And that's not the case. That's not where he's at with this. He's coming in and saying exactly what his plan is. And that is to clean up what's going on with the FBI. And it's just sort of sad that whenever you see these folks get up here and say things like Christopher Wray, and the way that you have the media portray them, like they are some holier than thou person, like the AP does here. FBI Director Wray says he intends to resign before Trump takes office. And a bunch of bootlickers here say Wednesday that he plans to resign at the end of the President Joe Biden's term in January. An announcement that he came in last week and a half after President-elect Donald Trump said he would nominate Kash Patel. Wray said in a town hall meeting he'd be stepping down after weeks of careful thought, roughly 3 years short of the completion of a 10-year term during which he tried to keep the FBI out of politics, even as the Bureau found itself entangled in a string of explosive investigations, including 2 that led separate indictments of Trump last year, as well as inquiries into Biden and his son. Yeah. My goal is to keep focus on our mission. But he seemed to have lost the goal of being on his mission. And of course, they're applauding him, saying Wray received a standing ovation following his remarks before a standing room only crowd at the FBI headquarters, and some of the audience cried. According to an FBI official who is not authorized to discuss the private gathering by name and spoke on condition of anonymity. Trump applauded the news on social media, calling it a great day for America as it will end the weaponization of what has become known as the United States Department of Injustice, saying that Patel's confirmation will begin the process of making the FBI great again. If confirmed by the Senate, Patel would herald a radical leadership transformation at the nation's premier federal enforcement agency. He has advocating shutting down FBI's Washington headquarters and called for the ridding of federal government of conspirators, raising alarms that he might seek to wield the FBI's significant investigation powers into an instrument of retribution against Trump-perceived enemies. Good morning, Knock It Off, Flair. How are you doing? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Good morning, McShizzy Wizzy, my friend. Long time no see. It has been a long time, hasn't it? And I got a little something for you. This will make you feel really good. Here you go. FBI, open up! Oh, good to see you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I hope that you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. And welcome to the Nut House. It's a crazy day here. It's an absolute crazy day here. Thank you so much. Yeah, he is out. Now, they brush over quite a bit here, and it's amazing that they really dig in here, because they would like to say that before being named FBI director, Wray worked at a prestigious law firm, King and Spalding, where he represented former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. During the Bridgegate scandal, he also led the Justice Department's criminal division for a period during George Bush's administration. I'm not saying that Wray is bad. He just ran it really crappy. You don't have to be a good person to do crappy things. And that right there is what he did. And if you want to hear a little bit more about what he did, let me just bring it up right here. This is what Seraphin spent his time saying. Ray spent the last 6 years being led around the nose in bubble wrap. To use his words, his tenure will mark the fastest and most public decline in respect for the storied institution. Seraphin listed off the FBI scandals under the outgoing director. Ray will be synonymous with January 6 politically charged investigations, FISA abuse, the weaponization of federal law enforcement. The Harris campaign wanted to turn the page on Donald Trump, but the American people voted to turn the page on Biden. Ray and the government officials who have thumbed their noses at oversight. He concluded January 20th can't come quickly enough. And I think a lot of people agree with that wholeheartedly. It's a sentiment shared by many after 4 years of federal catastrophes. Friend is celebrating Ray's resignation after witnessing the FBI's censorship in the Hunter Biden laptop story, scandalous mishandling of the Larry Nassar sexual assaults, deliberate targeting of Catholics and pro-life Americans, the abuse of whistleblowers. I'm ecstatic to watch Ray resign in shame. Ray, who was appointed by Donald Trump during the latter term, but who has become famous under Joe Biden, said during the town hall, after weeks of careful thought, I've decided the right thing for the Bureau is for me to serve until the end of the current administration in January and step down. This time, Trump has nominated hardcore anti-establishment Kash Patel as FBI director, a choice applauded by FBI whistleblowers, including Seraphin and Friend. It appears that Ray's resignation confirms the rumors that even Washington, D.C. is becoming resigned to Patel's confirmation. Under Ray, concerned parents who challenged bad policies at school board meetings and traditional Catholics were spied upon. Elderly Trump supporters who were present in D.C. on January 6 were targeted with more fervor than literal PDF files. The FBI was also part of a relentless campaign against Trump, especially the infamous Mar-a-Lago raid, and the FBI colluded with social media companies to silence America's free speech. Ray himself has admitted that the COOF-era FBI campaign against parents was not evidence-based. What other investigations were not? In any case, Ray knew that Trump would fire him once he took office. This resignation preempts the most inevitable humiliation of being canned. Now, hopefully Patel and Trump can enact major reforms in the FBI, hold those responsible for those abuses to account, and reinstate FBI agents who's prioritized their integrity and their oath to the Constitution ahead of politicized weaponization. It's very important that we have a president that can do these things. It's important that we have somebody that is willing to stand up to these kinds of things and say, no, this needs to stop. But we've still got people out there. We've still got these people out there today, and it is getting crazier and crazier. Here, I'll play this one for you right here, where it is insane that they don't get this. Mass deportations will start right here in Chicago, says border czar Tom Homan. Donald Trump's designated border czar was in Chicago at a GOP Christmas party on Tuesday, and he made it clear to anyone listening that he and his boss were dead serious about deporting the masses of illegal aliens in Chicago and that the effort would begin in the Windy City. Chicago's in trouble because your mayor sucks and your governor sucks, Homan said to Cheers. Later, he called both Democrat leaders terrible, while he asking them to come to the table to negotiate. Homan warned that he would prosecute Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson if he impeded the deportation efforts. Because of his actions, we're going to be arresting a hell of a lot more people than our priority, said Homan, telling Johnson and other Democrat officials to get the hell out of the way. If the deportation job is left solely up to the ICE, it will be an uphill climb. That's why it's vital that if deportation plan is to work, the feds must have the support of local law enforcement. In Chicago, that is a stretch. Chicago and the state of Illinois are the two most unfriendly places for ICE agents to operate. ICE agents aren't granted access to undocumented detainees inside Cook County Jail, and Cook County officials are not required to notify federal authorities when undocumented detainees are in local custody. According to the Chicago Publication Block Club, the state also forbids the renting of jail beds to ICE agents. At Holman's speech on Tuesday night, the Chicago Police Department is well represented. Case law makes it impossible for ICE or any other federal officer to order the city to cooperate. Chicago doesn't even have to notify ICE if it has an illegal alien in custody. Resistance from zealots like Johnson will make mass deportations in Chicago extremely difficult. Ooh, my throat is needing a little more coffee. Welcome, Tammy Bugard. Welcome. Hello, Jeff Grady. When administrators point out troops that their success depends on having their thumbs on the pulse of politics. Truth. Johnson has drawn the line in the sand. At a press conference last month, he said, "I will not bend or break. Our values will remain strong and firm. We will face likely hurdles in our work over the next 4 years, but we will not be stopped and we will not go back." As for Governor J.B. Pritzker, the future Democrat presidential contender, he appears to be ready to challenge Trump's every move. Pritzker is in discussion with Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul's office to explore what further legal resources or staff they'll need to challenge Trump's policies, including the potential for Trump to try to withhold federal agents for police in blue states in order to enact this mass deportation plan. Pritzker has called on any such action illegal and said the state would take legal action. Just days after the election, the governor sounded a defiant tone to anyone who tends to come away from this freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans. "I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come from my people, you come through me." Well, in recent speeches, Trump has sought to dial back the expectation about the deportation plan. There are legal limits to whom he can deport. Those who have filed asylum requests cannot be deported until their cases are decided in immigration court. Millions of asylum cases need to be adjudicated. And with a 5-year backlog, even adding extra judges won't speed up the process appreciably. Starting with deporting the criminal illegals promptly would make a good start and can be accomplished with little opposition. But that's the thing. They're all criminals if they came here illegally. Yeah, that's probably why. That's probably why they developed that particular word, Brandon. Jeez, man. Oh my God. But speaking of that, I have this one right here for you. If you're wondering, a step towards sanity, UK bans puberty blockers for Trans Am kids, because you don't want kids that are Trans Ams. Lately, we've seen small glimpses of sanity returning to our culture. Major corporations and universities are rolling back those woke policies. People are making movies with Christian and conservative values that causes critics' heads to spin. Our president is even shown respect when he goes overseas once again, but the United Kingdom just handed us a big dose of common sense, and with any luck, our countries, including the United States, will follow. According to a Wednesday press release from the Department of Health and Social Care, the UK is banning the sale and supply of puberty-suppressing hormones indefinitely for children under the age of 18. The move comes after the country placed a temporary ban on puberty blockers earlier this year following an independent study chaired by Dr. Hilary Cass, the former president of the Royal College of Pediatrics and the chair of the British Academy of Childhood Disability, was unable to determine that they were safe. His statement reads such as, "Existing emergency measures banning the sale and supply of puberty-suppressing hormones will be made indefinite Following official advice from medical experts, the Commission on Human Medicines has provided independent expert advice that there is currently an unacceptable safety risk in the continued prescription of puberty blockers to children. It recommends indefinite restrictions while work is done to ensure the safety of children and young people. The NHS stopped the routine prescription of puberty blocker treatments to under 18s in March of 2024, following CAS's review into gender identity services. Puberty blockers for the treatment of gender incongruence and or gender dysphoria in under 18s were banned temporarily in May of 24 after the CAS review found there was insufficient evidence to show they were safe. Legislation will be updated today to make the order indefinite and will be reviewed in 2024. The statement also says that support for children and their families who suffer from issues like gender incongruence or gender dysphoria will take a more holistic approach, and the country will offer enhanced mental health support. And this is what they've been needing the whole time. Swear jar. Thank you, Lesko. I appreciate it. Swear jar. Well, sometimes you just have to do the swearing, and when you do, it's all just
who the hell cares?
There you go. You're fine. Good morning, Mel and Linda. How are you doing this morning? It's a wonderful, wonderful eve of Friday. Yes, it is. It is a wonderful eve of Friday. Good to see you. Now, the children's health care must always be evidence-led. The Independent Expert Commission on Human Medicines found that in the current prescribing and care pathway for gender dysphoria incongruence presents an unacceptable safety risk for children and young people, said Wes Streeting, the Secretary of State in Health and Social Care. Streeting also called the fact that children were given these drugs without thorough research, and he's calling it a scandal. He said in some cases, acquiring them was as easy as filling out a form online and having a virtual consultation with a doctor. Cass herself said she supported the government's decision, adding that puberty blockers are powerful drugs with unproven benefits and significant risks, and that's why I recommend that they should only be prescribed following a multidisciplinary assessment and within a research protocol. While these drugs are not banned for minors in the United States, at least 23 states have adopted laws or policies that ban or severely limit gender-affirming care for minors, and several others are eyeing the possibility. According to the Association of American Medical College, a federal ban could become a possibility when Donald Trump takes office next year. Save the children. It's saving the children. I'm going to send you guys to go grab yourself a little bit of coffee. I'll be right back after a word from no sponsors, because I have no sponsors, but this will be back really shortly.
Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We talk and Shizzy, when it's chat we thrive, where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dawn night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shoutouts to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. we thrive. Where Shizzy does dance and memes arrive. No quiet moments, no dull night. We laugh and funny sight. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. From shout-outs to those random screams, to inside jokes and endless memes. We type our hearts, we spam the love. Our chat rooms like a lit-up club. Like a lit up club. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream. Ooh, yeah, we come together night and day. We laugh, we play in our own way. A family in a cyberspace, loving hearts in this virtual place. Oh, Shizzy's crowd, you're wild and true, with crazy gifts and jokes that flew. We're living pixels in the stream, a digital dream, a shared daydream.
Oh, and of course, we have this one. I almost overlooked this one. I forgot about it. You're not going to believe the number of migrants who have entered the U.S. since 2021. Turn that off for you guys. We've known for years that the number of migrants entering the U.S. during Joe Biden's term was massive. New York Times reporters worked with government officials and outside experts to analyze the magnitude of the recent immigration surge into the United States. The results are nothing short of mind-blowing. The immigration surge since 2021 has been the largest in U.S. history, surpassing even the levels of the late 1800s and 1900s total net migration. The number of people coming into the country minus the number leaving will likely exceed 8 million people over the past 4 years. Government statistics suggested that number includes both legal and illegal immigration, begins the analysis. According to the data from the Census Bureau and the Congressional Budget Office, net migration has never been anywhere close to 2 million for an extended period of time. Annual net migration, the number of people coming to the country minus the number of people leaving, averaged 2.4 million people from 21 to 23, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Total net migration during the Biden administration is likely to exceed 8 million people. That's a faster pace of arrivals than during any other period on record, including the peak years of Ellis Isle traffic when millions of Europeans came to the United States. Even after taking into account today's large U.S. population, the recent surge is the most rapid since at least 1850. A Goldman Sachs report based on government data shows that 60% of the 8 million people who entered the U.S. since Biden took office were illegal. The increase in combined legal and illegal immigrants has caused the share of foreign-born U.S. residents to hit a record 15.2 in 23, up from 13.6 in 2020. The previous high for foreign-born U.S. residents was 14.8 in 1890. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come, Biden said during his 2020 presidential campaign. But once in office, Biden said he wanted a safe and orderly and humane immigration system. He loosened the rules on asylum that allowed ordinary border jumpers to claim that they were oppressed and get in a 5-year line to await judgment on an immigration judge. Immigrants from several countries received temporary protected status, which allowed immigrants to live and work in the U.S. Waiver after waiver, the immigration law was granted, allowing hundreds of thousands of people into the U.S., no, millions of people into the U.S. Biden took most of these actions to alleviate the crush at the southern border. These actions included not vetting sponsors who showed up to take unaccompanied children to Lord knows where, forcing them to do Lord knows what. These actions were not done out of compassion. They were done to minimize the visuals at the border of thousands of illegals trying to enter the U.S. At the end, it didn't work. Camel Toe was forced to carry the political burden under Biden's ruinous, dangerous policies. And with all the talk about lots of immigration enriching the nation, just who is it being? Who is being enriched? But high levels of immigration do have downsides, including the pressure on social services and increased job competition. The Congressional Budget Office has concluded that wage growth for Americans who did not attend college will be lower than it otherwise would have been for the next few years because of the recent surge. On the flip side, higher immigration can reduce the cost of services to help Americans, many with higher incomes who do not compete for jobs with illegals. Bernard Yaros Jr., a lead in U.S. economist at Oxford Economics, a research firm, described the recent increases as something that we really haven't seen in recent memory. Mr. Yaros said that they have helped cool wage growth. A real safe and orderly, humane immigration system won't look like the chaos, mismanagement, and incompetence that we've seen at the border over the last 4 years. How very true. How very true. Good morning. Good morning, Shelley. It's a beautiful day. I will tell you, it is going to be an even more beautiful day today. And this is something about Hedge Seth, but I think I had something I wanted to show ahead of that. And it is glorious. I think that you're going to find it enjoyable. I'm pretty sure that if you have any mechanics out there, they will understand this. They will understand this particular reference. Yes, this right here is an auto shop, and yes, this is going to have some very foul language. I just want everybody to know ahead of time. So I will put a banner up here that is explicit images, dirty words, and general malfeasance. Viewer discretion is advised. So if you don't want to hear dirty words, you can just mute until you see this go off the screen, because there's going to be lots of dirty words.
It's Monday, and if you own one of these Jeep Sports 2000, I think this is 15, fucking with the multi-air hunk of shit electronic fucking engine. I've been on this for 5 hours now, pulling the fucking head because number 4 is dead. This is the biggest piece of fucking shit ever made by any fucking engineer. This is engineered to not be fucked with by nobody, but maybe pick apart where they just crowbar shit out of the way. This is a fucking hunk of shit and a half. Bolts fucking break on the exhaust when you take them out. I stripped half of them, just taking them out.
Thanks,
They
Joyce.
Loctite on. Broke one, stripped 2. What a fucking piece and a half of shit. Just trying to fucking disconnect the locks like they put on the all Chrysler products that are useless and not needed because the shit don't come off even with those removed. This is a hunk of fuck. If you own this fucking car, it's got 40 thou on it or less. 40 thou with that hole. What a fucking joke. And they make you fucking 16 valve motor with single cam. Go figure, with electronic controlled exhaust valves. What a hunk of fucking shit. That shit fails. I'm fucking fed up with these. I'm never doing another one. This is just garbage. I forgot about the exhaust bolts breaking off because they're really slick and smart at the factory, figuring let's just put Loctite on them or whatever the fuck they put. You can't get them off. They put fucking screws where no man can put his fucking hand. This thing's a hunk of fucking shit, man. Fuck you. I would never do another one. No way. What a piece of fucking shit. It's made to not be fixed. This is a throwaway car. That is the biggest engineering failure on earth. That fucking stupid shit. Maybe on a lawnmower, dude. Like one of them riding lawnmowers just might be good, but not in a goddamn car. This thing's a fucking nightmare. I got to fucking fix it because I'm stupid and I took this job on. If I would have remembered what the fuck it was, I would have never fucking touched it. I would have said, shove it up your ass. Not for fucking 10 grand. I wouldn't have done it. But I'm stuck doing it now and I got to figure this shit out. It took me an hour just to bust these fucking bolts, man. I had to go slow and easy so they all didn't break off in the fucking head because you ain't getting them out. They're so fucking tight. I used a big fucking monster fucking ratchet. Well, maybe not a monster.
That's not a big one.
To try to get those fuckers
mistake
off,
right
man.
there.
As you turn them, they just snap the heads off. So you got to go back and forth and machine it like that. What a fucking hunk of shit. This is not made to be fixed. Just so you know, if you got one of these Jeeps and it runs with this 1 point fucking whatever this fucking 2.4, I'm sorry, 2.4 fucking motor in it. Get rid of the motherfucker, man, while it still runs. If it gets slightly hot, you're taking it apart like this. And they're slick enough to put one of the guides on the head. They bolt it to the head so you can't just take the fucking head off without ripping the timing cover off as well. They're really neat like this. These fuckheads. Fucking stupidest shit ever made, this fucking thing.
Oh my God. Sailors are blushing. Yes, they are blushing. And good morning, Joyce. Thank you again for the $2 super chat. That's wonderful. Which vehicle is it? Is it a 2015 Jeep with a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder in it? He loves cursey words. Yes, he does. I used to talk like that. I still talk like that if I had to work on cars. Like if I had to work on that piece of garbage, oh my God. Oh, why didn't he just drop the whole engine out? I don't understand. It would have been a hell of a lot easier. Probably because the exhaust runs right over the AC from what I can see. Yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, he's got the AC lines. Maybe those are coolant lines. Yeah, they look like they could be coolant lines running up underneath that. But if you could get up there, disconnect those two hoses, remove the engine mounts, you could probably drop the whole lower subframe. That's more than likely what he should have done, is just drop the lower subframe. That way you have access to everything. And if you're pulling bolts off like that, you should have just used an impact and it would have made it much quicker. I don't know why he was using just a hand wrench, but hey, Jeep doesn't want that own Jeep. Maybe it has the same engine in it. That might be the problem. Plug all the lines, drop the exhaust from the downpipe, and drop the subframe. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, that's usually the way that you're going to work on something. Screw working on a damn car and like that inside you've got a shop for a reason. You have the space. Freezing this morning. It's 9 degrees. Oh my gosh. Feels like -9. So not a good morning. Both dogs are under the covers. Well, at least they're keeping you warm. Yeah, I mean, working at Honda, we would just drop a whole subframe and replace the engine. Screw the dumb shit. I don't know why he's doing work on that. If he's trying to pull the head because he's got number 4 cylinder screwed up, all you got to do is just replace the whole damn engine. You don't want to be trying to get that thing resurfaced or any crap like that. Screw that. Your tolerance levels are going to be really low with aluminum block, aluminum head, and a cast. No. I replaced enough Honda engines that yeah, you don't want to be messing with that. Your tolerance isn't going to be good enough anyway. It's much easier to work on muscle cars. It depends. It depends on the muscle cars. I mean, if you're looking at, for example, one of the Corvettes, you're going to have to drop that subframe to do most of the work anyway, because you don't have enough room inside the engine bay. It's just simple. Hondas are like 1.4 turbos now. Yeah, they are. Well, except for the 6 cylinders, but then of course they have those 6 cylinders that shut down the rear cylinders on it, and I think it's 1 through 4. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 1 through 4 shuts down on the backside of that block, and number 1 cylinder tends to get like a bunch of gunk up inside the injectors, and then that gunk falls down inside the engine, and then it scratches up the inside of the cylinder wall, and you have to replace the engine anyway. I tell you, I've replaced at least the first year that I worked at Honda, at least 10 of those engines, and that they're no fun. But I could feel the guy's pain. I was like, oh God, I'm so glad that I don't do that kind of work anymore. I'm so glad I don't do that kind of work anymore. I'm just, it blows me away. It blows me away that this poor guy got suckered into that. Ugh. Do you guys want to see a really cool video? This one's going to be a little bit long, but it is glorious. Once I saw it, I was like, oh, I don't know who this is, but this is very cool. Yeah, I'm going to show it to you because I think you guys will love this one.
Hello.
I was looking for Matt.
This is Matt.
Hey, man, how are you? This is Jubal from Brook and Jubal in the Morning. I'm moving 92.5.
Okay.
You sound a little confused.
Yeah. What's going on?
You recently went out with a listener to our show for a lovely dinner, and she feels like you're blowing her off and you don't want to see her again, and she wants to know why. Do you have any idea who I could be talking about?
I don't know. The last date I was on was a couple months ago.
A couple months ago.
A couple
Not
months
a couple
ago.
days ago?
A couple of days ago? No.
The girl that
Ooh.
emailed us, Emma, said that you guys went on a date like 2 or 3 days ago.
Girls,
Was that not a date?
No.
what do you?
All right, that's confusing. Yeah, no, Emma said that you asked her out and then you went on a date and there were sparks and you guys had a great time. You didn't consider that a date?
That was definitely not a date.
What?
Ooh.
Wait,
From everything she said, it sounded like a date. What was it then?
Maybe she didn't tell the whole story here. Emma, we were both ushers. We were just trying to see a show for free.
yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to know how long the show was because I was meeting some friends at a bar later that night.
Okay.
And she was like, oh, where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. We're going in here. So, okay. So the show ends, left the theater, went to the bar where my friends are. And then lo and behold, 20 minutes after I get there, Emma shows up.
Oh.
Now, at first, I didn't think anything of it. I did tell her where we were going. So, there's not a lot of bars on that street. So maybe, whatever.
Okay. But to be clear, you didn't invite her to the bar.
Oh, no. Let's make that very clear.
It's
All
that.
right.
Oh goodness.
What about the kiss? She said that you guys kissed.
She said that it was a great kiss at the end of the night.
Oh, this gets
I mean,
better.
we were drinking for a while and talking, and I had said goodbye to my friends that I was meeting. They had already left. And she made it seem like she was really wanting a kiss. So, a gentleman. It was nothing like,
Hey, no, you don't need to explain yourself, Matt. If a girl wants a kiss, sometimes you just gotta lay one on her when they want it. You gotta give them what they need, right, Matt? So
there was nothing R-rated. It was just like no groping or no, nothing.
I'm
heavy.
sorry, I
It was
can't listen to this anymore.
Hello?
Matt, what are you doing?
Emma?
yeah, Matt, that's Emma's voice. She's on the other end of the phone. Has been listening this whole time.
Oh my God.
Matt, you're going to lie on the radio and say that that wasn't a date or that that kiss didn't mean anything to you?
I'm not lying. I mean, I didn't even ask you to come to that bar. You just showed up literally in front of all my friends and was just like, hey. And I was like,
Why
oh,
did you
what's
tell me
going
where
on?
you were going to
Oh,
be? Why would you tell me where you were going to be? Why would you tell me of the specific place and time that you were going to be there if you didn't want me to meet you there? You invited me to come to the bar, and then we had dinner and drinks for hours and had like meaningful and intimate conversation. And then at the end of the night, we had an amazing intimate kiss.
Oh my God.
We did not
I
have
was
dinner
not
at
very
that bar.
drunk,
We had
Matt.
chicken wings and fries.
Oh, Emma.
Why does it matter what we ate? That has nothing to do with the quality of our time spent together. We could have eaten twigs. It doesn't matter. You were talking about our families and what we want out of life.
No. Oh, see,
That's
here we
not
go.
someone
See,
that you're
talking
just,
about
like,
our families. We were just
casually-
talking about your family and how amazing. Here's
Oh.
another thing. In this phone call, if you rewind all this, you will hear Emma say amazing about 400 times.
She says it a lot. Okay.
Matt, did
You
you
know
know?
it was amazing. You know that.
Emma, when you kept talking, you are one of these girls that just says, what are you thinking to the guy over and over and over again.
It's the worst.
She's like, Matt, what are you thinking? If there's a lull in the conversation, I just ordered a drink. And she'd be like, what are you thinking now? I'd be like, I just ordered us another round.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. Why do you care what I'm thinking?
Because I want to know you on a deep level. That's what intimacy is.
Oh.
That's what happens when
Oh,
you're not
oh.
afraid to know another person. You want to know their thoughts all the time.
No.
Haven't heard anything from you in a second, Matt. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Emma's nuts.
I don't understand why you're afraid of a true connection, or if you don't feel like you deserve
True
that,
conne-
or if you don't believe
What?
it because you've been burned in the past. But this is a real thing that you can trust. You can trust it, man.
No, I don't even know your last name. We didn't even
Oh,
really
God.
talk to each other.
That doesn't matter. Who cares what my last name is?
Emma, is there some way that you blew this all out of proportion?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I know what I know. I'm not 15 years old. I've been on dates before. I know what it feels like when it's there and when it's not. And it was there in a stronger way than I have ever felt in my life. And I think that Matt is afraid of that.
I will say this. I am afraid.
I'm not crazy. I just know what love is, and I recognize it when it happens.
Okay,
I
be
can
Oh,
see it.
shit.
I saw it in your
Emma.
eyes.
It's
I saw
okay.
it, Matt.
Emma, you sound very, very, very
Passionate.
Crazy.
upset. And yeah,
Someone is telling me that an experience that was more real than anything I have ever felt.
Yeah.
They're pretending like that didn't happen.
Okay.
That would make anyone feel
well,
crazy.
well, Matt felt differently, obviously, Emma.
And he has a
He-
right to his feelings.
Yeah,
He's pretending to feel differently, and I would
Oh.
love to have another chance to sit face to face and have him deny it.
okay.
Facing me, looking at me.
How about this? If you think your love is so strong, I'm going to ask Matt right now. Matt, would you like to
Yeah.
go out on a second date with Emma? We will pay for it.
A second date with this Emma.
Yes, the Emma that's on the phone right now, not another one.
I would like to just say that I have not even known this girl for 48 hours yet, and I'm on the radio debating marriage.
Yeah.
Hey, love moves fast sometimes. You just got to embrace it and get on the train, Matt.
So
Will you go out on a second date? We will pay for it.
I will let that train bypass me. I'm going to get on a different train.
You sure? We'll pay for
You're
it.
making a huge
I
mistake. Matt.
appreciate it, guys, but this is not the one for me.
You know what, Emma? In
Yes.
a little while, Matt's going to be kicking himself. A few years down the
I
road.
know.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When
Matt-
he doesn't find real love, he'll think back to this moment and
Yeah.
he'll remember
When
that
he
it was
No, he
possible
won't.
and that he gave it up.
when he's
No.
alone, when he's alone and doesn't have anybody, he's going to be thinking back to this phone call and realize how he screwed up. Emma,
Oh man.
Thank you very much.
you're welcome. Thanks for listening.
I knew you guys would love that one. I heard that. I was like, oh my gosh, that is gold. That is gold. He's just like, no, we're not playing this. We're not playing this. Unlike this one here. I've got this one here for you. You're going to love this. Let me see if I can pull it up because it is absolutely glorious.
Hey, I think you're the father of one of my kids.
Here we go again. You're the third woman this week. Look, I know all 5 of my baby mamas, and you ain't one of them. Look, no offense, but none of this does anything for me. I'm sorry, but I know for a fact you are not one of my baby's mamas. Now, how the hell do you think I'm the father of one of your kids?
I'm your son's teacher. Jerk.
My bad. You're not that ugly. Yeah, you are.
Oh, this has to be the woman that called into Good Logic Show. Where's Zach? Back me up. Is there really a woman that called into Good Logic Show that was just like, oh, we had such a connection? Oh God, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. I think we need some Japanese rapping, and I'm gonna have to learn this technique because it's Christmas, and I have forgotten how to do like really good rapping. But this I think is one of the best rapping jobs you're ever going to see. Look at this. Just goes off. Look at that. Just wraps it. Boom. 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 That's amazing. Turn off the music just so it doesn't get me in trouble there. Now look at this. I mean, look. 1 fold, 2 fold. That one. I need to learn to wrap packages like this. This is amazing. Look at that. That's it. Look at that. That's amazing. Jeez. I need to learn these kinds of skills. These are life skills I think everyone should have. Yeah. They can wrap all my stuff for me. Yep. what happens is we end up wrapping gifts like on Christmas Eve at my brother-in-law's, and it's just insane because there's just it's mainly for the littles, and it's just wrap. And me, I suck at wrapping gifts, but I need to learn that one. That would make wrapping so much easier. Yes, paying someone else to do it most definitely makes it much easier. I know, and there's just one piece of tape on there. That's it, one piece of tape or two, whatever. There's hardly any tape. I'm so using bags again. Exactly. Odd sizes work the best. Oh, yeah. God, that's so amazing. Good morning, everyone. Yes. And I'm debating which one I should cover right now, because I've got two different things that have sort of been going a little bit in the back of my head of which one of these I should cover first. But I think this is probably the first right here. Like the South after the Civil War, D.A. Bragg and A.G. James believe in the lost cause of prosecuting Donald J. Trump. Sometimes I think leftists would rather lose, as long as they go down in a glorious, flaming, spectacularly public way, earning the awe and adoration of their comrades. They are satisfied with the outcome. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and New York Attorney General Letitia James persist in keeping hope alive when it comes to the lawfare being practiced against President-elect Donald Trump. Bragg is asking Judge Juan Merchan not to throw out the 34-count conviction of Trump a jury returned earlier this year in the hush money case. Letitia James refuses to heed calls to throw the civil lawsuit case out and not allow the ludicrous $450 million judgment to stand. Bragg and James are trying to keep the cases alive until Trump leaves office in 2029, when they can then send an 82-year-old man to prison. Leftist revenge fantasies have no expiration date. Even after the inauguration, defendants' temporary immunity as sitting president will not just justify the extreme remedy of discarding the jury's unanimous guilty verdict and wiping out the already completed phases of this criminal proceeding, Bragg and his team of prosecutors wrote in an 81-page legal brief. Which I'm going to have to look at that, because I think that's going to be glorious. Dismissing the indictment after a trial and jury guilty verdict, because the defendant later wins an election, would undermine the public's perception of fairness in the criminal justice system. Sort of like Hunter Biden, who was, wasn't Hunter Biden just given a pardon? Like a solid pardon for crimes and future crimes that he may be charged with. Yeah. Nonetheless, there's a broad consensus among constitutional scholars that a state's criminal prosecution of a president cannot continue while he's in office. Bragg's team agreed with the principle, but stopped short of saying Trump's sentencing can't go forward before Trump is sworn in next month. The sentencing was originally set for November 26, but was put off by a judge after Trump prevailed at the polls last month. Prosecutors argued that Merchan can use various mechanisms to preserve the guilty verdict while taking steps to shield Trump from consequences that could be seen as hindering his ability to focus on his presidential duties. Merchan could suspend the case until after Trump leaves office, or he could take the high road and promise in advance not to sentence Trump to prison and won't consider Trump's conduct while he's president. Bragg could also ask Merchan to consider a rarely used legal device known as abatement that is usually invoked after a defendant dies. In Trump's case, the convictions would be preserved but end further legal proceedings. Only a judge who doesn't care about the United States would take any of those options and keep the sword of Damocles, I'm not even sure how to say that name. My wife could probably tell you. Balanced over Trump's head for his entire team. Damocles. In the case of James and her fraud case against Trump and his company, she has called out what in New York is common practice of inflating net worth to get better rates on loans and insurance. True, Trump told some whoppers, but the $455 million fine is more than excessive. It's punitive beyond anything that the law requires. Trump's attorney, John Sawyer, is lining up his guns for a very aggressive appeal. In late September, Mr. Sawyer fiercely disputed the verdict in front of the Manhattan Appeals Court. Among several arguments he made, he compared the case to a third world style political prosecution that would never have been brought against any other defendant, and that the case would deter companies from doing business in New York, as they probably should. Several of the 5 judges on the panel raised skeptical questions about the case, particularly in regard to the size of the $455 million judgment the lower court judge had imposed. In her Tuesday letter, Ms. Vale argued that there is no basis for her office to dismiss the case, principally because civil litigations, unlike criminal cases, are exempt from presidential immunity and do not violate the Constitution. Most notably, she argued, Trump's conduct does not stem from the time he served as the 45th president. Why are Bragg and James persisting on what appears to be personal vendetta under the guise of holding the rule of law? It calls to mind the common belief held by many Southerners after the Civil War in the lost cause. The South didn't lose because of any weakness inherent in the system of slavery. Lost cause proponents framed the war as a defense of states' rights and the Southern aggregation economy against supposed Northern aggression. Yes, it was a war of Northern aggression. Bragg and James are implying that the people of the United States have been denied justice because Trump was elected president. Prosecutors would have succeeded in sending Trump to jail or bankrupting him, but for the inconvenient fact that voters rejected their efforts to ruin the former president and elected him into the White House for a second time anyway. Yes. Well, they will come after people as much as they possibly can. And a perfect example is West Point. West Point was caught lying about Hedgeseth acceptance there. West Point has admitted to sharing blatantly false information about Pete Hedgeseth's acceptance to the prestigious U.S. Military Academy. Hedgeseth himself provided evidence to undercut West Point's claim, which the Academy now asserts was made in error. This is another illustration of why we need a defense secretary who will clean house and enact reforms at military academies and active duty forces. Leftist ProPublica reached out to West Point and asked if Hedgeseth had indeed been accepted there. West Point said no, but Hedgeseth subsequently posted his acceptance letter on X. A ProPublica editor admitted the error in that the military academy apologized for, but the question remains if the false information was provided through incompetence or out of a vindictive dislike for Trump's defense secretary pick. And I would say it's more than likely the latter. A little rain and the fentanyl. Yeah, a little rain on the fentanyl in today's batch. Yeah, the zombies are out today. I happen to know that Biden's defense secretary, Lloyd Austin, made jabs at Hedgeseth during a recent speech at West Point following his public criticism. Do some West Point employees agree with Austin and want to see Hedgeseth's nomination fail? After all, West Point authorities were COOF vaccine tourists, and they are on board with the woke DEI. They even offer minors in diversity and inclusion studies. Hedgeseth wants to get rid of DEI propaganda and policies in the U.S. military. Its advocates are no doubt piqued. Regardless of the reason, incompetence or wokeness, at least one West Point employee did in fact share false information with a major news outlet. Hedgeseth posted on December 11th, "We understand that ProPublica, the left-wing hack group, is planning to publish a knowingly false report that I was not accepted to West Point in 1999. And here is my letter of acceptance signed by West Point Superintendent Lieutenant General Daniel Chrisman, U.S. Army." ProPublica editor Jesse Ellinger admitted that Hedgeseth's team had notified the outlet that the information provided by West Point was incorrect and that Hedgeseth still had accepted his acceptance letter. ProPublica decided to go with West Point's story, only to be discomfited when Hedgeseth sent it the image of his letter. We went back to West Point. They apologized, as Seeger wrote, before making the mystifying statement, "No, we're not publishing the story. This is how journalism is supposed to work." Apparently, he thinks journalists are meant to pass on big stories to protect government institutions at all costs. A review of our records was offered in missing West Point, did not attend. Incorrect statement was reissued. The West Point statement Essingers shared in its original statement incorrect and said that further review of an achieved database led employees to realize the statement was an error. We apologize for this. West Point has rightly been renowned as a prestigious academic and military institution for over 100 years, and many patriotic young Americans still attend it. But, of course, there's traitors and fools that have held high positions there in the past, and now it is certainly true that the academy needs to be reformed under Donald Trump and Hegseth to ditch the woke politics and focus on its mission of training excellent officers. We would like to see more of that happen. What is it? What is this going on? Good morning and all. Connie Carlson, it's only 5 degrees in northern Illinois. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. There's a reason why I don't live there. Good reason why I don't live there. To hell with that garbage. No, thank you very much. And it sort of goes to show the kind of things that are going to be coming in to the United States. And this is really impressive. I saw this earlier today, and I thought that I would share this with you guys.
El déficit era el huevo de serpiente de todos nuestros males, ya que sin déficit no hay deuda, ni emisión, ni inflación. Hoy tenemos superávit fiscal sostenido, libre de default, por primera vez en los últimos 123 años. Esto fue gracias a hacer el ajuste más grande de la historia de la humanidad y aplicarle un torniquete a la emisión monetaria hasta llevarla a cero. Hace exactamente un año, un degenerado fiscal que no voy a nombrar venía de imprimir 13 puntos del PBI en un año para ganar una elección, sin cuidado de la inflación que iba a generar. Hoy la emisión monetaria es cosa del pasado.
Amazing. In a year, they managed to get their deficit under control. In a year. Just think what the United States can do. Just think what the United States can do with this. But yet you've got a-holes in the Canadian government that really want to cause problems with Americans. Weird, huh? You wouldn't think that this was possible, but it's true.
About it, as I mentioned to the Prime Minister, the rest of the premiers, we need to be ready. We need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th or January 21st. We don't know what extent this fight's going to go to, but we need to line up everything that we're going to tariff and make sure that the tariff, the money that's coming from these tariffs, don't go into a federal bank account sitting there somewhere. It needs to be immediately distributed right across the province equally, and we'll be able to support the companies, the factories, the workers for any issues that they're facing at the time. So it's a good start.
Did he give you any details of where those retaliatory tariffs would be aimed on American goods?
No, Chrystia Freeland's going to put a list together. We're going to put our list together, and I'm sure the other provinces will as well. But we will go to the full extent, depending on how far this goes. We will go to the extent of cutting off their energy, going down to Michigan, going down to New York State, and over to Wisconsin. I don't want this to happen. But
yeah, you do.
My number one job is to protect Ontarians and Canadians as a whole, since we're the largest province.
See, he's wanting to get the United States in a trade war with Canada. Central Michigan, 9 degrees, felt like -9. And just think, Canada's saying, "Oh, we're gonna cut off supply, not the tariff. They're going to cut off fuel supplies going into New York and Michigan and all those northern states." And just think what happens if they decide to cut off your fuel supply going into those states. Just like I saw Jeff Bridges who fell on hard having a stationary acid trip. Whatever music God was pumping straight to his ear, holy sure looked groovy. Stay out of Michigan Ford. Yeah. Yeah. But that's what they're talking about doing in Canada. They're talking about cutting off energy supply, not just putting tariffs on it, but actually cutting off energy supply to the United States. And this could turn into just a big trade war. They really don't like the fact that they're charging tariffs on the United States, but whenever the United States does it in turn, they want to, we'll just cut you off. Speaking of cut off, someone like Whoopi Goldberg, someone really needs to cut her off from media. I'm not saying she shouldn't be working in media. I'm just saying she needs to turn off the damn TV because she is so full of garbage. She is so full of garbage that she had this to say.
Did you see what she said? Whoopi Goldberg is really stepping in it again. This time she's talking about Daniel Penny, the Marine who kept people safe on a subway. He was found exonerated, not guilty, by a jury of his peers in the death of Jordan Neely, the guy who came on, and everybody reports was threatening everybody. Penny stepped in and stopped him. Well, Whoopi Goldberg saw a picture of Penny celebrating with his lawyers by having a drink at a bar, and Whoopi thought she'd chime in. But what she says might cost her a lot of money.
There's been polarizing reaction to this verdict as well. I don't know. I don't know that seeing them celebrating in a bar made me comfortable. You know, I mean, you killed a guy. The man is dead, and
no, that right there would be a lie. That would be a lie. He was alive whenever Penny released him, and he died from the drugs he was on. So she's lying. She's not telling you the truth. And this is why I'm saying she should be cut off from any sort of news media, because apparently she isn't in charge of Ontario. Okay.
maybe you take the celebration home. You don't do it outside. But that's just me.
No, you celebrate anywhere you want to. You're free from tyrannical people like her.
Listen to anything I say.
Yeah, that's the thing. How do we?
I mean, keep in mind, Whoopi Goldberg is on a nationally televised program on ABC. Almost every day for about a week, the people on The View, it was Sonny Hostin mostly, had to apologize for something they said. And now she's saying, you killed a guy, which obviously the jury said he didn't. And the witnesses all said he didn't. You can't just say that. And yeah, after a year and a half being put through the ringer by the prosecutor there in Manhattan, you get to have a drink with your lawyers. Give me your thoughts on this. Is she getting sued? And make sure you're following.
Yeah. Amazing that these people don't understand this kind of crap. Schiff will tell you exactly their attitude towards these kinds of things.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him.
Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
Yeah. Shifty Schiff is really going down that rabbit hole. Didn't Rittenhouse ever win anything? They defamed the hell out of him, but scripts their lawyers wrote. Yeah. Well, I think one of the problems that Rittenhouse ran into was a lot of the people that were associating with him were wanting to do things that they shouldn't have been doing. And I think that's why he got rid of those attorneys. Not, it wasn't his attorneys. It was the people that were surrounding him that were leading him down a bad path, leading him down a really bad path. But I would say that Rittenhouse was accused of all kinds of stuff. You hit with wood, fake out. There are plenty of trees around me. True. Yeah, but it is a possibility, though. Not everybody heats with wood, though. Especially if you get into the cities. You might be a little more rural, and you can get the wood, but that is sort of the intent of these folks right here. So Daniel Penny is an example of the best type of masculinity. Daniel Penny, the young Marine who was just exonerated of killing a serial criminal, Jordan Neely, while restraining him, has stated that despite all the agony of the incident's aftermath, he wouldn't change his actions. It was more important to protect his fellow subway passengers, and that is the attitude that all men should have. From the first settlers in North America to the founding fathers to all the soldiers and heroes in America since then, the country was founded on built by men who faced danger fearlessly. They took obstacles head on and were willing to die to defend the rights and lives of others. Penny has followed that honorable tradition, and Representative Eli Crane was right to nominate Penny for the Congressional Gold Medal, and I hope we see Penny receive that award in the future. Penny said on Fox News, "I take a million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed." While describing himself as not a confrontational person, Penny explained that he couldn't have lived with the guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt. If Neely did do what he was threatening to do, and Penny hadn't stopped him, witnesses testified that Neely went so far as to threaten to even kill someone. And let's hear it in his own words.
I mean, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't really extend myself. And like this type of thing is very uncomfortable. All this attention and limelight is very uncomfortable. And I would prefer without it. I didn't want any type of attention or praise, and I still don't. The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take a million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
Yeah. The term toxic masculinity is thrown around and misidentified so much that it's risky to use it. Everyone has preconceptions about it, but if I were to give a real life example of toxic masculinity, serial criminal Neely fits the bill. He was always taking, never giving. He was violent and irrational. He repeatedly broke both the laws of the government and the moral law. He was totally selfish, undisciplined, and filled with a sense of entitlement. He assaulted women. He threatened strangers. He was a drug addict, and he was not in any way contributing member of society. He was an abuser, a user, and an abuser. Consequently, that with Penny, who at least is seen in the context of his interaction with Neely and his subsequent trial, behaved with all the resourcefulness, courage, rationality, and responsibility that one would hope to see from a grown man placed in a risky situation. He dealt with the problem as quickly and safely as he could. He protected others, but without any extremes of panic or passion. He was truly a U.S. Marine in that moment, acting as a guardian and a warrior. He did not kill Neely, as the trial and the jury's decision have also proven, but he did possibly save lives. Neely had been arrested multiple times before assault, and he was so high on drugs, and who knows what he would have done had Penny not been there. This is not to canonize Penny, but to recognize that he is a man of a type that is increasingly rare in modern America, the sort of man who built this nation, the kind of man we desperately need again today. A man of action, and these men are by far not perfect, but those men were great. May God bless Daniel Penny and give our nation more young men like him. Amazing thoughts from Catherine Salgado. Yes. Where we need to have more men like him and less like the ones we currently have running around. And that sort of brings me to my next story, because this one is sort of touched me a little bit. I've got a friend of my wife's that has a friend that a friend of my wife's has a father that's in this situation, I guess the best way of putting it. So this one here, obesity drug maker CEO pledges to fight for FDA, claims Zepbound can cure drug addiction and Alzheimer's. The predators who run the pharmaceutical industry have another thing coming in 2025 when RFK Jr., God willing, takes over the reins at HHS by hook or by crook. A bipartisan cadre of swamp creatures of Washington in the industry are sure to oppose this nomination tooth and nail, but hopefully Trump can figure out how to get him appointed on a provisional basis that eventually turns into a de facto permanent basis. To counter the MAHA agenda, Eli Lilly CEO Dave Ricks, valiant defender of not just his shareholders' bottom lines, but of science, has nobly pledged himself and his corporation worth $750 billion to resist the recently expressed democratic will of the American people because democracy and because public health. He also is out in public domain recently claiming that Eli's historically lucrative drugs Monarjo and Zepbound are beyond just weight loss miracles sent from heaven, something called anti-hedonics, which means apparently they can cure any addiction or compulsion, including drug addiction. Confucius say in order to cure drug addiction, one must turn to expensive drugs and to get the government to foot the bill so drug companies can sell even more to the poorest with no disposable income. Make it make sense, please. We're starting to look in a different use case scenarios. Things like alcohol use disorder or opiate use disorder. We're also talking about things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. So we're going to see different disease processes begin to come into the mix when we're looking at GLP-1 receptor agonists and get outside the cardiac metabolic sphere. Says industry hack Dr. Fatima Cody, Stanford, who, as I have previously reported, is literally a paid shill who regularly appears in the corporate media to hawk these drugs without ever telling viewers that she's receiving cash for her propaganda work. Profiles in integrity. If I can mute that. There it is. There's an essential. The drugs may extend many lives by years, save billions of medical costs, divide public health, and clinical trials currently underway to test whether these could treat a slew of conditions. The only way to solve weight loss drug dilemma is create a mechanism, blah and blah and blah. The conversation starts here.
Please welcome Andrew Ross Sorkin and his guests, Chair and CEO of Eli Lilly and Company, David Ricks, and obese.
And something came to my attention, and this was really important whenever I saw that, and these people wanting to throw drugs at every single problem, and this like warmed my heart. This really warmed my heart. So if you're wanting to see a little bit of heartwarming here and not the sad propaganda, stay tuned because it's going to get good. She's walking to Tennessee.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, what?
Where are you off to?
Tennessee?
You're going to Tennessee?
Yeah.
Do you know you're in New York right now?
Yeah, so?
Well, how are you going to get to Tennessee?
No walk.
You're going to walk all the way to Tennessee?
Why not? The settlers did it. I can do it.
Which way are you going to go?
South.
South to Tennessee.
Maybe north.
It's south. You're right.
Oh, okay.
You're right.
Okay. And this is south.
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
What?
Would it be all right if I tag along with you?
Sure.
Well, you know what? I'm just not exactly prepared. Can we go back in so I can pack a couple things before we go?
Okay.
Would that be all right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back this way. And
but make it snappy.
Are you in a hurry?
Yeah, I want to get there.
What are you going to do when you get there?
I don't know, y'all.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thanks for coming back in with me, Mom. I just have to grab a couple things.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like we might have left the door open too.
Oh.
Oh geez, good thing we came back, huh?
Yep.
All right. So let's go in and pack. So when your person is taken off, boy, you better have a plan. So don't be like, hey, where are you going? Stop, come back with me. You have to come back inside. If you say things like, you have to come back inside, they're going to be like, I'm an adult. I can do whatever the hell I want. And you're not going to tell me what I need to do. So you're just, you're actually instigating a fight. So instead, ask if you can come along. Hey, that sounds really fun. Do you mind if I come with you? Notice I have a great big smile on my face. I'm not like, hey, where are you going? You're not supposed to be outside. It's cold out. Put your coat on. No. Hey, where are you going? What's the agenda? What's going on? Well, that sounds like fun. Geez, I'd really love to come with you. Would you allow me to come with you? You're asking permission. Ask permission from the person with dementia. Just wait and see what kind of results you can get. Keep watching me. I got a gazillion of these for you.
No, that warms my heart. One of my wife's friend's father, which my wife has known for quite some time, has Alzheimer's and severe dementia. And he's under home care right now. They have a nurse that comes in, and he tends to speak his mind quite a bit, and doesn't recognize a lot of people currently is suffering through this. And so whenever I saw this, it really warmed my heart to see that there are people that have figured out how to actually care for people like that without having to rely on some sort of drug regimen that doesn't increase the quality of life. And I'm just happy to see that there's people out there like that, and that really warmed my heart. Really warmed my heart. So I thought I would share that with you. That's unfortunately a favorite outcome on the dementia scale. Yes, it is. It is, because it can be really bad. Russell, Duke earmuffs, fuzzy shoes. Oh, that is one of the better outcomes. Yes, bless her, bring her good daughter. She is absolutely good. Now it's by doing it on planes, running trains, and getting into with automobiles. You guys are crazy. Has equals had. Yeah. And it's so whenever I talk about the drug companies, I also had to bring up this, and which sort of really became a little bit important, is sickening wanted posters targeting corporate execs pop up across New York City. The way that some people have responded to the deletion of United Healthcare CEO and father of two, Brian Thompson, is absolutely sickening. Over the last 24 to 48 hours, I've seen people online cheering on the suspect, Luigi Mangione, and calling him everything to a hero, from a hero to an icon to a thirst trap. Some people looking at you, Taylor Lorenz, said they felt joy about the deletion and posted the names of other insurance executives online, but now they've taken their hate and vulgarity offline to the streets of New York. Several people reported across various social media platforms on Wednesday that someone had hung wanted posters throughout New York City featuring the names and photos of other executives in the healthcare and insurance industries. Posters include one of Thompson with a giant red X across her face. According to TMZ, it's not limited to healthcare and insurance executives. Someone hung posters of the Goldman Sachs CEO and CFO near their offices. New York Post reports that some of the posters say healthcare CEOs should not feel safe and included words like deny, defend, and depose. These are the same words that were on the bullets Mangione allegedly used to delete Thompson. The posters also feature each executive's salary, and according to ABC, some of the posters say United Healthcare killed everyday people for the sake of profit. As a result, Brian Thompson was denied his claim to life, and who will be denied next? And included bullet-shaped graphics. The New York Police Department issued a warning to public on Tuesday through a bulletin which was obtained by ABC News. It said, both prior to and after the suspected perpetrator's identification and arrest, some online users across social media platforms reacted positively to the deletion, encouraged future targeting of similar executives, and shared conspiracy theories regarding the deletion. Of course, it probably doesn't help that people like prominent Senator Elizabeth Warren have gone on television and said things like, you can only push people so far. Warren appeared on MSNBC with Joy Reid this week and said, what happens when you turn this into a billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny. And look, violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who is allegedly deleted the United Healthcare worker, but you can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands. Yes, that is what Elizabeth Warren said. And for what it's worth, Warren supposedly walked back her statement on Wednesday, said, well, violence is never the answer, period. I should have been much clearer that there is never justification for deleting somebody. Western culture is obviously under assault, and the outpouring of hate and violence is proof. That's why it's important to support those who will stand up for it, like all the talented writers at PJ Media. PJ Media VIP members, it's a tremendous value on its own, but you can use the promo code SAVE AMERICA to get 50% off. I didn't know that deletion was a partisan issue. Yeah, it's amazing how that works, isn't it? Amazing how that works. But instead, they're not focusing on this next story. Whenever they're talking about deleting these CEOs, there was another person's name that came popping up. Yeah. And that would be Michael Moore. Because every major evildoer usually has so-called manifesto, an explanation letter, a rationale to excuse their inhumanity to others. The media always asks investigators to get a copy of it. Well, most of the time anyway. Corporate media never forgot very hard to get that Nashville shooter's manifesto, for example. And now the manifesto of the accused, the leader of the United Healthcare CEO, has been released, but it's still censored by major corporate media as of this writing. Are they interested in why this guy did it? Even the Washington Post, in behest of the FBI, published the Unabomber's treaty and all 35,000 words of it. Accused killer Luigi Mangione and his 2.5-page rationale for why he shot Brian Thompson as the CEO walked to a work event in Manhattan contains some eye-opening observation, but none is so compelling as a reference to, but many have illuminated the corruption and greed Rosenthal Moore decades ago, and problems simply remain. To Rosenthal and Moore, referenced in the sick letter of the former New York Times reporter Elizabeth Rosenthal and filmmaker Michael Moore. Rosenthal wrote a book about the healthcare industry. Michael Moore, of course, produced his agitprop documentary called Sicko about how communist Cuba's healthcare system is better, cheaper, and more efficient than the U.S. system. And the movie was a total con. Cuban authorities took Moore to the finest, though still comparatively subpar, medical facilities where they treated a number of patients, including people harmed after responding to the 9/11 attack in Manhattan. Socialized medicine at its best, More enthused. Many people have connected Mangione to Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, because he left a comment on Goodreads about Kaczynski's book. But as I reported, Michael Moore makes a cameo in Murderer's Manifesto. And we've got questions about why the media are hiding it. The two manifestos don't have much in common. Police believe, however, that Mangione was inspired by the Unabomber because of his comment. ABC reported Mangione may have inspiration Ted Kaczynski, the violent anti-technology extremist known as the Unabomber, echoing his tone and reflecting his targeting, a similar mindset of the need for unilateral action to bring attention to abusive corporate actions. He appeared to view the targeted deletion as the company's highest ranking representative as a symbolic takedown, direct challenge to its alleged corruption in power games, asserting in his note that he is the first to face it with such brutal honesty, the report said, directly quoting Maggioni's writing. Kaczynski's brother David turned on his brother after he realized he wrote the manifesto. He tells NBC News that he'd be horrified if Maggioni drew any inspiration from the screed. His actions are like a virus, David Kaczynski said in a phone interview. They could be like a virus unless they understand he was very angry and disturbed man. It doesn't mean his ideas are ideas of a lunatic, but his behavior, I believe, is the behavior of a lunatic. To the extent that he may have attributed at all to sort of normalizing or recasting of the violent acts as a beneficial to humanity is a terrible, terrible mistake. Sorry, I still have that up there. I could fix this in a heartbeat or two. Just need to find my Obama to be a puppet master for the skeletons. Don't try to flee my closet. Just like acts of love can send out waves of benefits to other people, to humanity at large, in ways we can see and ways we can't see, David said. Acts of violence do the same thing, albeit in a very negative manner. It really gives me a great deal of personal pain to think my brother's actions have in any way contributed to influencing a man like this to delete an innocent human being. It's arguable that Michael Moore's agitprop movie had more to do with the actions of the accused murderer than the Unabomber. The fans think so anyway. Sure, it's full of over-exaggerations and inaccuracies, but it feels right. Michael Moore hasn't issued a statement about being name-checked by the accused assassin. Which manifesto had more impact on the alleged killer? Maybe this trial will reveal it all. In the end, however, it's not what is in the message, it's what the crazed killer does with it. That's the important thing. That behavior must be punished. Absolutely. And they maybe should pay more attention to this right here. More than 3,000 drones sighted hovering over New Jersey, maybe from Iran. Wow. So the FBI is asking for help from the public in its investigation of thousands of drones that have been reported by New Jersey residents in the last month. Robert Wheeler, the assistant director of FBI's Critical Incident Response Group, told a Homeland Security Subcommittee there have been more than 3,000 reports of both fixed-wing and rotary drones over New Jersey and recently New York and Pennsylvania. We don't know the people responsible behind that, and that's what we're working on. Members of Congress are flabbergasted the FBI can't figure out where these drones are coming from and who's operating them. You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are doing in New Jersey? Is that correct, Representative Tony Gonzalez? That's crazy. That's madness. That's the FBI. Representative Anthony Esposito, Republican New York, said the fact that we continue to say we don't know what they are and don't know what they're doing, the American people are looking at us and think we're lying to them, because how could you possibly not have answers, says Esposito. Now, Representative Chris Smith, Republican New Jersey, says that more than a dozen drones followed a Coast Guard cutter off the coast while law enforcement tracked another 50 drones coming from the ocean. Another New Jersey Republican Congressman, Representative Jeff Van Drew, made a startling observation that the drones may be coming from an Iranian mothership off the coast. These drones should be shot down, he said on Fox News, adding that the military is on full alert with this. He cites confidential sources who say that drones very possibly could be from Iran. These are from high sources. I don't say this lightly, he added. He made a point to rule out the possibility that it was a hobbyist or the U.S. government flying the drones.
In the skies above the east, reports of mysterious drones.
Look, guys, there's one there, one there, one there.
Turning into thousands of posts going viral online.
Coming in one after one.
With people from coast to coast now spending a lot more time looking up and pointing their cameras into the night.
This is bizarre. There's more over there, look.
Some could be optical illusions, planes that seem closer than they are.
You can hear that one. That is definitely a plane.
But others have defied normal explanation.
What the
Car-sized drones operating for hours in restricted airspace and able to elude local law enforcement when they send their own drones up to give chase. In New Jersey, the Army reporting the Picatinny Arsenal has had 11 unauthorized drone incursions in the last month.
Look what's back again. Same spot as last night.
21 local mayors now demanding answers from the state.
The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. This is something we're taking deadly seriously.
The entire month before that, it was nightly drone incursions over Langley Air Force Base.
Let's just start with current events.
Today, a congressional hearing on Capitol Hill on the national security threat drones pose.
What is going on in New Jersey?
We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights.
But for
Now, I did see something about this yesterday, and I don't have it to pull up, but there were, from what I understand, is the FBI called this meeting. They called for this meeting with Congress just to get in there and say, no, it was somebody else who had called it. I don't think it was the FBI, but they called a meeting to address these drones. And then whenever they were asked what they found out, it was they had no answer. They had sheriff's departments that were fleeing them to stay away. It's crazy that they called the meeting and couldn't give any information about it. Can't understand why you have to pay for meds and hospital treatment. We get ours for free. In the UK, we pay so much at WK. In the NHS, we get free hospital treatment and operations and meds. Well, that's because we have a different medical system than you have in the UK. And we also have drug companies that pay certain amounts of money to be able to do that. And believe it or not, that a lot of the drugs that you get are produced out of the United States. So it would take an entirely different show that would probably get me demonetized from the YouTubes for who knows what the hell they would say. But if you do a little research, you can understand why you're able to get those drugs for practically nothing. And the same way, if you're living in Mexico, the same drug that you purchase here in the United States, you can get in other countries, third world countries, for free. So I just won't go into it here because that'll get me in all kinds of trouble. But let's continue on with the drones.
For those who see them on a nightly basis.
Not a plane. That is a drone in the airspace.
The drones are a very real reminder.
That's
almost
here.
A little bit of a hum. That our airspace,
It's a very little thermal signature.
is not as secure as we might hope.
All right, so there's a big difference between me going outside or someone else going outside that doesn't really have training and looking up, and those cops that went outside and were looking up, and then a mayor of Mine Hill Township, Sam Morris, who went outside as well, and he saw something weird. Mayor Morris, thanks so much for being with us. Can you walk us through exactly what you've seen in your skies and what's being done about it?
Sure. Of course, I was aware of this issue, but last Tuesday night, it kind of came full force into my life with a resident who I know well, lives a block from me, reported to me that there were 8 drones over our school and municipal complex, which are on the same block. So I got in my car and I went around there. And by the time I got around here, they were not overhead anymore. And I went into, there's a field behind.
So whenever you see those blinking lights, that's not a drone. Just so you know, you see the blinking light, that's not a drone. That's a plane. What? Trust cops now? Well, that's how it is. Trust the popo. Why not?
Behind our town hall that has a lot less light pollution. It's a park.
That looks like a helicopter.
And when I went in there,
that looks like a plane.
I could see a series of, it was like a stationary drone that was sitting still and 3 drones going back and forth in a north-south pattern. They would go to the north a certain distance, stop, and turn back around.
So those look like planes. Whenever you see that blinking light, why would you put a blinking light on a drone? You have no reason to do that. They run that stuff and sell at a reasonable price, and their government just jacks the prices up, and everyone in the delivery pipeline makes dough. Absolutely. Yes. Good morning, Celestial. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Almost like somebody farming a field or, something like that. And that's what really got me a little hyper focused on all this, because I saw it personally and videoed it personally.
So you saw it. Were you able to kind of track them? How big did they look? How fast were they moving? Any details there?
That's right.
Well, they aren't, when they're doing whatever they're doing, they aren't really moving particularly fast. I can't estimate speed, but they're not like, oh man, that was rocketing across the sky. They're going very methodically with a plan. And you can see that. You can see that they aren't just whizzing around, there are people that have drones and they just fly willy-nilly, so to speak. These are very methodical in their flight path, and it looks very planned.
It looks very planned, and in certain places it is very illegal. Especially Picatinny Arsenal is very close to you. You've got Bedminster also out there in New Jersey.
Yep.
There are TFRs. Some of them are over airports, just hovering there. You'd think that if it's illegal and someone is breaking the law, the cops or some authority would be able to go out there and very quickly figure out who's doing this. Has that been the case at all?
No, there's a lot of rules on that, but we got to be a little bit, after watching Robert Wheeler's testimony.
Now that one, the way the lights are on it, makes me very suspicious that one's probably a drone. But usually whenever you see that red light blinking, that's going to be an aircraft that you see. Now, that other one that you saw, it had two different lights on it that were lit up almost the whole time with a little bit of a blink. What is that? Wait, drones quadcoptered can have blinking lights, reason even for military drones, or for if they have to operate in friendly airspace. Of course, the lights can be turned off when attacking. Yeah, true. But they're also set up a little bit differently than they would be on an airplane. Just quite a bit differently.
Today, I'm kind of fed up, and I'm part of that group of mayors that authored a pair of letters on Sunday trying to bring more focus to this, and we did. I genuinely think it's time to start harvesting drones.
See how that's lit up on both sides, and the blinking lights are blinking on both sides, whereas the airplane, you only see one light blinking on it. I knew you were trying to bring back Girls Gone Wild, Zach, but sadly the answer to both questions is no. I love that.
And stop worrying about the rules. Whoever's running these drones, they're not worrying about the rules. They're using the rules against us. And that's always, it happens in a civilized society, but whatever they're doing, they don't care what the rules are. They're 11 drones, it's been admitted now, 11 drones have gone over Picatinny Arsenal, which is about 5 miles from here in a direct line. Those drones should have been blown out of the sky.
Absolutely. So there's nothing that is known that would lead me to say that there was no risk, but we just don't know. And that's the concerning part. And that, of course, is not very reassuring. New Jersey has witnessed a startling number of drones since mid to late November. The unidentified drone sightings have also been reported in Bergen, Essex, Hunterdon, Morris, Passaic, Sussex, Somerset, and Warren counties. Some eyewitnesses have reported seeing car-sized objects that appear to rise in the sky as the sun sets. They have been hovering over reservoirs, military installations, and critical infrastructure. In a joint statement on December 3rd, the FBI, State Police, New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness said authorities were asking the public to report any information related to the recent sightings of possible drones flying in several areas along the Raritan River. Iran, China, and Russia, it could be any one of them or none of them. What might be the most disturbing thing about this incident is that our federal law enforcement agencies and their billions of dollars in high-tech surveillance equipment can't track the source of the drones. And if they're coming from offshore, our trillion-dollar military appears unable to track them back to their source. Crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But we have, is that here? One last thing I want to touch on before we head out of here. This is pretty interesting if you haven't seen this yet. And this is brought to you by somebody else, not me. This guy right here is gonna blow your socks off. Just give it a listen.
I've never felt more validated in my life. how much have you paid your gate agents to enforce your carry-on bag policy? I mean, you guys do appreciate that flying on your airlines is horrible. It's a terrible experience.
I was right, and I'm always right. And that girl is a fucking.
She told you to.
This fucking bitch.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I'm first in line to board, and this bitch goes, "Hey, you're gonna have to check that bag." I'm like, "Well, this is the same bag I flew here with, and I fly everywhere with this bag." "No, it's too big." And I'm like, "What?" It's because the airlines are paying gate agents to confiscate bags.
How much have you paid people to pull out customers who are in line with a bag that's 2 centimeters too big?
It's $10 per bag.
Wow.
Oh. So they're giving them incentives. And everyone's like, "Oh, you threw a tantrum." It's like, I didn't verbally accost anybody. I didn't physically assault anybody, although it would have been a pleasure.
Yeah.
The point is, I was fucking right. She was just selectively taking a bag to make a few extra bucks.
Your airlines are paying millions of dollars to your employees to harass people who've already paid.
This is exactly what happened to me. And I just want to say it again. I was right. And you're still a fucking.
This shit is big time.
Who is right?
Yeah. But who has those? I think people have just watched the military episode. Yes. One of Rogan's only funny friends. Yes. And well, now Gillis Normand. Next news network, Gary Franchi had some interesting cover of the drone issue last night. Yeah, there's quite a bit of information about those drones. But yeah, you have to remember that there's folks out there that will do anything they can to bring you down. Don't let them bring you down. Don't get upset. Don't get angry. Just do what you got to do. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we should have a really interesting stream. I've got a couple of things I want to read to you. And it depends on whether we get. It's scary. There's random planes flying overhead. What is scary? It's random objects flying overhead. That should be a little scary. But we do have a couple of things that I plan on going over. One of them would be the opposing motion to dismiss on Trump as presented by Alvin Bragg. And if we don't have the documents that which would be the what do you call it in the Hales case, we don't have that deposition in today, which I suspect it may not be. It may be forthcoming, but we may not see it today. If we do get that today, I'll be bringing that up. And if not, then I'm going to go over the Supreme Court's pleading that Bragg made, and it looks like it's 82 pages. I'll be able to cut through quite a bit of the garbage on that and try to make it a little bit fun and entertaining. That is the plan for tonight. So it's going to be one of those two. If, like I said, I'm really wanting to see Shara's deposition so we can sort of bring to light all of this stuff. People are observing and F-18 trying to shoot down a recreational aircraft. Yeah. What about Fani? What about Fani? Yeah, we can go into that also if we have time. Not all drones have GPS, nor do they report to FAA. Not all are complying with the new FAA remote ID law that was started on 9/16/2023 and be costly for hobby flyers to comply. I'm old. I remember if anything shady came up, a politician's career was over. That is true. There used to be a time when something shady would come out of a politician's career would be entirely over, but those days are long since past. They have been gone for quite some time. It really takes a lot to get those kinds of things out there, to really make it, because there is so much disinformation and so much misinformation on these kinds of things that you don't always see everything that comes out. Unfortunate, but true. We would hope that there's more that comes out about this, and then we can sort of follow these things a little bit more. And what do we have here? Let's see. Give this thing a refresh real quick. I'm looking to see where I can forward all you guys to, because I want to make sure that you've got somewhere to go after we finish up today. And it looks like nobody is on right now except for Legal Vices. So I will be sending you guys over to Legal Vices. He's doing an old one with Woodward. So go enjoy. Go give him a nice thumbs up. Make sure that you send him all kinds of kindness, and everybody have a wonderful day. I will see you tonight, 7:30 usually is the time that I start up a stream. So be on the lookout for it. I've got a lot of work to do today, and hopefully I can get all my research done. In the meantime, everybody have a wonderful week and a weekend coming up. I will see you very soon. Peace, y'all.
Bless your heart. I thought I was the only mentally challenged one here.
Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Early morning, rise and shine. Coffee's brewing, feeling fine. News is out and on the air. Shizzy Whiz nuts wild, but we don't care. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz nuts, start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java with a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Headlines spinning in the breeze. Stupid jokes, he's such a tease. Sip the Java, wear a smile. Pants are off, but stay a while. Morning Whiz and Coffee. Talk the news, he's a tease. Laugh it off, we're on the go. Shizzy Whiz, let's start the show. Let's go. Get it, yeah, oh yeah. Serious is overrated. Every day we're caffeinated. Talk the town, but in a jest. Morning Whiz is always best. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop. Clock is ticking, time to run. Morning show's a load of fun. Grab your mug, don't spill a drop. Laugh your ass off till you pop.
Oh my god, Shizzy breaks Larry. Shizzy broke Larry.